All right. So,
Yep.
Dr. Jockers, it is an honor to have you on the call right now, my friend. I feel like this has been a long time coming. We've been talking about doing this recording, so thank you for joining me.
Oh, it's great to be on with you, Cade.
Appreciate that, man. So we've been friends since 2011, and we met back at a training event in Marietta, Georgia. And I was impressed back then with how much you knew. Again, we were learning about extremities. You were giving me all sorts of tips, and those are tips that I still use in my practice today, almost 9 years later. And then I think the next time that we were together was in 2012. We spent some time together at the London Olympic Games. I remember we were working with the U.S. wrestling team, and we grabbed lunch. My wife and I were just so impressed with the ideas that you had, the articles, the videos that you were planning to do, and how you were going to help affect so many families across the nation. And again, I'll never forget after our first lunch together, my wife was like, "You need to hang out with that guy, that Dr. Jockers. He's something special." And we flash forward to 2020. It's absolutely incredible what you've accomplished. You're on one of the hottest natural health websites with over 1 million monthly visitors. Your work's been seen on Dr. Oz. You're a world-renowned expert on the keto diet and fasting. You've created so many programs that have helped thousands of people on topics like brain health, autoimmune disease, gut health, hormonal health, and so much more. Again, Doc, it's an honor to be on the line with you here, and it's an honor to have you be a part of the Rooted Apothecary team.
Well, thanks so much, Cade. It's really an honor to know you and your wife and be a part of what you guys are doing as well.
So, since we first met back in 2012, a lot has changed. Your practice and your website, of course, have grown like what we just talked about, but your family has grown as well. You've got 3 little ones. Can you tell us a little bit about them and your family?
Yeah, absolutely. I met my wife in 2014. I met her July 4th, 2014. We, in 4 months, I proposed. 4 months later, we got married. And then 6 weeks after that, we conceived and we found out we had twins, and we ended up having our boys December 31st, 2015. Our twin boys are identical twins, David and Joshua. So we actually had two two young boys and we had only known each other a year and a half at the time. So we got to know each other very, very well and very intimately through that experience. And so they're almost 4 now. And then we also have a 19-month-old daughter named Joyful. And so my boys' names are David and Joshua, and my daughter's Joyful. So it's a busy household, and we love it. So it's great.
That does sound like a busy house. So my question that I've got to go in first to pick your brain as a father of 4 myself, how do you balance it all? I mean, it's one thing to be successful in one area, but it seems like you're doing really well in so many different areas. And I just feel like I'm constantly trying to find that balance between work and family. And a lot of times I'll swing too far in one direction, and then of course there's a price to pay somewhere else. So any advice for the rest of us that are still, trying to work on this and figure it out?
Yeah, I think it's just a continual, it's a continual growth. Like, I couldn't imagine, I'm able to stop work pretty much every day at 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, right? And just finish. But it wasn't like that years ago. And so it was just kind of continually setting goals and figuring out, asking myself, what do I need to do to create more time that I can spend with my family? And really building a team. I think that's a really big thing. So a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we think we have to do it all by ourselves, and that gets us so far, but it really burns us out. And so getting a really good team and just only focusing on what you are excellent at. So I try to just focus on what I feel like I'm the best in the world at, which is really communicating a natural health message, right? And being creative with it. So content, um, and also, patient care. I think I'm really good with patient care, but I've reduced that down a lot in order to really focus on what I feel like I'm excellent, what I excel at. So, the more that I can basically hire up and train really good team members and have them basically put them in a position to succeed and do really well in the areas that we need with the business, the more it frees me up. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing. And I have a really great team with my online business, drjockers.com, really great team with my clinic, Exodus Health Center. And that honestly just is invaluable, right? Just having really good, solid, loyal team members that are in their sweet spot and can produce at a high level and enjoy what they do.
I love it. I think that is an analogy that we can take in a couple different areas beyond work and with our family and our work at home too. I know so many of us really try to see and focus on our pitfalls or our weaknesses and try to improve those, while kind of downplaying the gifts that God gave us in some other areas. So I love it when you say focus on the things that we're excellent on, and find other people or a team or other things to makes the things that we're not so good on a little bit easier and a little bit less stressful and obviously less of the focus, right?
Yeah, I think that's huge. And then also learning how to say no. I think that's also a big thing that as an entrepreneur, you've got to figure out at some point, like in the beginning, your demand is not high. So you've got to go out and, say yes to everything. But at some point you've got to switch that and realize, basically every time that you say yes, you're saying no to something else. And so you want to say yes only to the best opportunities. And opportunities are a dime a dozen. They just continually come. And so we've got to learn how to say no so we can stay open and keep our plate open for the best.
I love it. I love it. We're experiencing a lot of that, saying yes to everything in our house right now, with social events right now, with the holidays coming around. And it just gets crazy. And we see because of that, of course, we're having a great time in some areas, but other areas are starting to fall apart. And yeah, it's definitely tough. So I think that lesson hits home for me. And I hope for some of our listeners here too. So, Doc, let's start to shift gears a little bit here. My mind has been spinning in preparation for this talk. You have so much to offer our Rooted Apothecary family. And again, I know that we're short on time. So first, what I'd like to say to the people that are listening, please head over to drjockers.com and learn about all the things that this man has to share immediately after listening. I know that you're going to find what you're looking for. I'm going to promise that you're going to find what you're looking for. It's incredible how much content from videos and articles and recommendations that this man has put together over the years. So what I do want to focus on and talk with you about, though, is the family medicine cabinet. I'm going to put the medicine cabinet in quotes as well, quote unquote, the medicine cabinet, if you will. So I think a lot of families that we've taken care of over the years really resonate with the idea of, quote unquote, a healthy, less synthetic, less medical version of the medicine cabinet, if you will. So I'd like to focus on this a bit more with you today and the things that you've recommended to patients in the past and things that you're using or testing in the house right now with your young and beautiful family. So the topics that I'd like to talk about with you, Doc, first would be the immune system. I know our kids, of course, get sick, and that first sickness that you have with the little ones is the toughest, it seems like. It's the one where you're stressing out the most because you've never been through it. Things like fever, things like congestion. What are some things that you're going to recommend to our listeners that are natural, that are effective, that they need to have in their medicine cabinet, not for if the time strikes, but when that time strikes for their little ones?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I think to start that conversation, we want to really focus also on prevention. And so I know with my kids, I give them cod liver oil every day. And the cod liver oil today's day and age, it's going to be flavored. Like I use a company called Nordic Naturals. They have a good one that's lemon flavored. So my kids actually like it. Like I pull it out and it's like, okay, who wants cod liver oil? And they're all ready for their cod liver oil. So there's no there's no bad feedback that I get from them. They just take it right down. And that's got vitamin D, that's got omega-3 fatty acids. Both are really important for the immune system, great for brain health, developing really strong, healthy brains as well. And it's also got vitamin A. So vitamin A and vitamin D, these fat soluble nutrients, particularly the retinol, which is the true preformed vitamin A rather than beta carotene, which is not a true source of vitamin A. That's something that you would get in carrots. That retinol, very important for a healthy immune system, healthy gut lining. So our digestive system, our intestinal lining is really important for our immune health. So cod liver oil is a staple. Pretty much everybody in my family takes that. We give that to the kids every single day. Also, I make a shake for them with collagen protein, and we'll put in some glutamine. Glutamine is an amino acid that helps strengthen the intestinal lining. So you've got all these little tight junctions, and the intestinal lining is only one cell wall thick. And so it's very easy for that to get ruptured and damaged and create something called leaky gut, which can then cause all kinds of chronic inflammation, issues with the immune system. For kids, a lot of times they get eczema when they have leaky gut. And so I give my kids glutamine, which really helps strengthen that intestinal lining. We also put some probiotics in this little protein shake that they drink, and that's usually what we're putting in there. Sometimes I'll put some colostrum in there, which is basically immunoglobulins to help sensitize the immune system and make it a little stronger. And especially like to put that in during, the cold and flu season, or, for traveling, or, just under a little bit more stress, then that can be really helpful for them as well. So having them drink something like that on a regular basis. My kids really like, they always ask for stevia water. So stevia is an all natural sweetener, and they always want that in their water. And so we usually give them 2 cups of stevia water a day, and then the rest is normal water, because we don't want them to get too addicted to it. Because we've done that in the past, where it was like we just kept putting little stevia water drops in their water, and then they just wouldn't drink normal water. So we try to limit it, but I always put vitamin C powder in there as well. So we put a good vitamin C powder to get them like a gram of vitamin C, and they drink that. And it's like their little lemonade, and so that's really good for their immune system. So those are really core components. We also use like a little multivitamin. It's a chewable multivitamin as well, which has preformed methylated B vitamins, minerals, things like that. And then just obviously a really healthy diet. And we're really big on sleep, right? Creating a really good sleep environment, trying to keep their room as dark as possible. A lot of times kids will have, young ones will have night lights and different things like that, which blocks the melatonin. And so the kids don't really get a very deep sleep. They have interrupted sleep, and that's going to affect their immune system. So we want to be in as dark a room as possible. So we just have kind of created that. And, my kids at this point, they're 4, they haven't, nobody's been afraid of the dark. We haven't gotten to that point yet. Maybe that will arise at some point, but I think that's an important thing, is doing that. We're huge on naps, so I've got a 19-month-old and the 2 4-year-olds, and they're all napping, and usually they're doing 2 to 3 hour naps in the afternoon. So we usually put them down somewhere between 1 and 2, and they're sleeping till like 4 or 5. And we try to get them in bed before 8 at night on most days. And my boys will play a little bit, but they're typically out by 9 o'clock, and my daughter's right out. So just trying to really get somewhere, at their ages, somewhere between, certainly 12 hours minimum sleep a day, right? Like overnight. And then also as far as nap goes, and again, creating a really dark environment helps with that. A good diet that doesn't spike their blood sugar. So we give them fruit and things like that do have sugar in them, but we're always doing that more like as a dessert after they've eaten protein and fat. So that way, we're keeping their blood sugar stable. That's super important. Getting them active. We try to get them outside as much as possible. When the sun is out, we try to get them out in the sun, getting really good sun exposure on a regular basis. These are all the preventative things, lifestyle things that are so important to even prevent the fever. So I think that's huge. Now, when, in fact, my son just recently, I think he's better today, but over the last few days, he's had a cough and like a little bit of a fever. So we've been using nano silver, which is basically silver that we've been spraying in his mouth. And the silver is really good for binding to the cell wall of bacteria. It's also got antiviral properties. And, basically it's like a natural antibiotic in a sense, and the nano form is actually, colloidal is very good. The nano form that we use actually dissolves completely in water. And so like extremely low risk of affecting, or, changing his microbiome in an unfavorable manner. So we really like that. It's just an easy spray. So he just opens his mouth and we spray it in there. So that really helps. For my daughter with teething, we have done the Highlands homeopathic teething drops, and that seems to work. We have an amber necklace that she'll wear as well, which releases a little bit of succinic acid into her bloodstream, which has very mild anti-inflammatory benefit. And so I don't know that it's really helped, but but we use it so with
That's
the hope that it's helping as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things that
Um,
we've struggled with. Well, how about this? Let me stop you really quick because
yeah,
you've given a ton of really, really good information here. So what I want to say really quick is I think so many of the people that we've talked to over the years are really frustrated or confused with how complex health can be. And you've given us a ton of really good information. But if we really just boil this stuff down, you've given us some good stuff that focused on gut health and the immune system with the supplements. You've talked about some basic things with exercise, some basic things with diet, and the importance of sleep. At the end of the day, those things are really easy. Most people know what they're eating is good or what they're eating is bad. Of course, there's specifics and lots of details in there, of course. But for the most part, we know what food is good and what food is bad. We know that sleeping more is good. We know that exercising more is good. At the end of the day, it doesn't have to be so complex. Do you feel the same way, Doc?
yeah. I mean, you want to get the basics, right? So you've got to
Yeah.
keep stress under control. Getting out, getting good sun exposure is really important. Regular movement, just so critical. Positive mental outlook, right? Trying to create a really positive environment. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are the basics. All those things are free.
Yeah, and I think if we don't have the basics right, then it just definitely becomes frustrating and confusing and almost like a task to go into any of the more specifics. So for folks that are listening, get those basics down right. That's going to make a huge impact in your life. And then again, Dr. Jockers on his website, he's got a lot of these details, a lot of these specifics written down in a way that's just so easy to understand. We've had so many patients that we've referred over to your website, Doc, that they always say, I feel like such an expert after reading some of these articles and going through your programs. So you laid it out in such a nice way. So one of the topics that I was going to ask you about was sleep. And it sounds like you guys have sleep down to a science in the house. You've told us about how important it is, how much kids typically need at the ages that your little ones are. You've also talked to us about the importance of melatonin production by removing any of the light in the room and how dark is important. How about for kids that have a hard time falling asleep? For some of the kids that are rowdy or wound up, or just again have a hard time falling asleep. Any tips for parents to help calm their kids down quickly to make that bedtime less of a chore?
Yeah, a couple things. Magnesium can be really helpful. So magnesium is one of the most common nutrient deficiencies. So we'll put a little bit of magnesium, and you can get magnesium that has a good flavor to it, like flavored with stevia, things like that. So we use a product we have called Brain Calm Magnesium that we'll put in water, and they love it. They love to drink that. So that really helps relax, calm them, and really helps induce good sleep. We found that magnesium works great for our children. Also doubles to help keep their bowels regular as well. If they ever get a little dehydrated or constipated, it will help keep them regular. So those are probably the biggest things.
How about essential oils, and
Yeah.
how about the importance of a
Yeah.
routine? A lot of us, it gets so crazy. There's a lot of things that we need to check off our list before we go to bed, from cleaning the
Yes.
house, cleaning dishes, making dinner. It can get pretty stressful. How about when we combine a good healthy routine with your favorite essential oils? What are your recommendations there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we also diffuse essential oils. So we'll put in lavender at night. And we just diffuse lavender essential oil pretty much throughout the house, but specifically in the bedroom. So for Joyful in her bedroom and also in the boys' bedroom, we're diffusing that. So that really helps too.
Awesome, awesome. And about a routine for folks out there, I think the routine is amazing to really help signal to the body that we're prepping and ready for the next task, which is of course sleep. We've talked a lot about with parents the importance of or adults the importance of journaling, music, reading, things like that. But how about for kids? Do you have any, do you guys do a bath time before bed or anything else like that?
Yeah. So the boys get their bath in the morning, and then Joyful gets a bath at night before she goes to bed. So yeah, we have a routine with that. I usually bathe her, and then my wife will come in. She's kind of working with the boys, getting them ready. And then she'll come in, she'll like read some books to her. And she's still kind of at the tail end of nursing. So she'll nurse her. And then she has this little elephant that, that she likes to kind of hold on to. And so basically it's just kind of like this little routine. And with the boys, we read to them at night before we go to bed. We all pray together. And Yeah, and then we do a big bear hug, and then they go down.
I love
So that's typically what we do. Again, I would say probably, I don't know, 60, probably 2/3 of the time the boys will stay up playing, for probably an hour or so. But usually by 9 o'clock, they're knocked out.
Yeah, it's not easy. I've got four little ones, like I said earlier. My ages are 6 years old, 4 years old. I've got a 2 year old, and my youngest is going to turn one here in a couple of days. So bedtime can get pretty crazy for us. But we've definitely found the help of course, magnesium. We already talked about hemp-derived CBD and the importance of that. But the routine thing I think has been the biggest thing for us. We're all on the same page. We're calming down. We're winding down. But again, I know that time is short, so I want to jump into the next topic. Can you give us just a couple examples we talked about prevention, but if the kids do get sick, what is your favorite thing for when the kids are experiencing a fever? Or maybe you can talk with us a little bit about the philosophy behind that too. And then perhaps congestion. I know a lot of this time of year, parents are dealing with congestion issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So for congestion, um, certainly could try like a neti pot, can help. Now, sometimes kids will reject that, so they don't really do that great with it. But I have a supplement called Immuno Strong, which is a berry liquid that we'll use that has astragalus, it has elderberry, it has some different medicinal mushrooms in it, and it's kind of like a good berry taste to it. So like my kids always ask for it. Now we usually only use it, we cycle it, so we don't give them that every day. We'll give it to them if we're noticing like sniffles or coughs or something like that where they need a little bit of immune benefit. Because a lot of those herbs like echinacea, medicinal mushrooms, elderberry, if you're giving that to them every single day, it's going to lose its effectiveness. You actually want to cycle those. So really good thing to pull out during a period of time when a child is not feeling well. I already mentioned colloidal silver. Big thing with kids is you've got to get like liquid forms, right? So a lot of times there's good supplements on the market, but they're not in the form that a child can take. So these we've found to be really, really helpful, really effective. And then as far as like a fever goes, we want to honor the fever. Obviously, it can get to be too strong, right? So it can get up to, if it's up to 103, 104 degrees, that could be a problem depending on, the age of the child or whatnot, especially if the heart is really racing fast. So there's a time and a place for medical intervention there. But in general, if the child has a fever, 101 degrees, something like that, we don't want to freak out. We just want to honor it, allow it to run its course, right? The child needs to break the fever, and then really try to support them with, getting good sleep, doing, obviously putting the child down, which they'll typically want to sleep anyways. Broth can be really helpful to keep them hydrated. So like a good organic bone broth or something like that, which has got a lot of minerals in it. Try your best, obviously, to keep them hydrated. That's important. Sometimes the magnesium and doing a lot of it, or vitamin C, doing a lot of vitamin C in water to help them poop. So we really have to pee and poop or sweat out, microbial debris and metabolic waste. And so a lot of times as that temperature rises, the white blood cells, the immune system is getting stronger. The immune system really thrives in that sort of high heat environment. And then on top of that, we're also sweating, which is helping our body release a lot of metabolic waste. And that's important because that metabolic waste slows down the immune system, slows down our ability to heal. And then, the more that we can urinate and defecate it out, the faster we're going to heal.
I,
So
I think
those
you've
are all key things we'll do. So we'll do a lot of vitamin C, a lot of vitamin C in water, and just trying to do our best to keep them hydrated.
I think you've made some really good points here, but the thing that I'm going to focus in on that I like the best personally, that I think a lot of folks need to hear is what you said about the fever. And you use the term honor it. And just so I can clarify a little bit more on what that means, the body is smart. The body's not stupid, right? The body knows what it's doing. All of us are inbuilt with this intelligence that the body raises the temperature in response to try to kill some of the pathogens, whether it's a bacterial infection, whether it's a viral infection, the body's going to raise it up to different temperatures. So we don't want to be afraid of that, like you're saying here. And, I do want to just point out that a lot of times when we talk to parents, it's not always about that number. And I know that you said that too. It's not always about that number, that 102 or 103. It's really about watching the heart, watching how
Hmm.
the child is responding. We've seen some kids that with 101 that are in pretty rough shape. And we've had our kids with 104-degree fever running around the house like crazy, thinking it's the greatest thing in the world. So we really got to watch those kids and again respect and honor that fever and know that the body's doing that on purpose. So great points, great tips. I hope everybody caught that, Doc, on all of the different supplements and the different routines that you're sharing here. Again, because of time, I want to keep this moving. And the last thing that I want to talk about here is parents. Um, I'm just in awe, again, Doc, of all the things that you're able to accomplish and keep things in a balance. But sometimes I know personally for me, and I know for a lot of listeners out there, it's not easy trying to, again, balance work, balance family. And a lot of times we put the kids down to bed and we're up until 11, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, trying to just get caught up on the day-to-day tasks that need to be completed, laundry and cleaning up, and you fill in the blank, right? Um, when I wake up the next day, a lot of times I feel very fatigued. I feel drained. I feel sometimes even emotionally defeated. Um, do you have tips for any of the parents that are out there that feel the same way? When they wake up the next day, how do we keep that positive mindset moving forward? Are there any things that you can talk about with food or with supplements that are going to keep people ticking along and going strong to be the best versions of themselves as parents?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you gotta have a really good self-care practice. So we try to be in bed. Like I personally try to be in bed at 10. My wife sometimes will stay up a little bit later. But I'm an early riser, so I'm usually up at like 5:30 or 6, and she'll get up at 7. But in general, just trying to stay on a routine is extremely important. So, and then we dim all the lights, after we put the kids down, so there's not a whole lot of light in our home. So that really helps prepare our bodies for a good night's sleep. And we always focus on gratitude too. We have little gratitude journals that we'll talk about, like top 3 things that we're grateful for. We'll pray together. Trying to really, because obviously there's a lot that comes at us, and it's very easy to talk about. And all, we're certainly not perfect. A lot of our conversations are things that we're frustrated with, but we try to end on a positive note and really focus on things that we're grateful for. And then same thing in the morning when we wake up, just really focusing on what we're grateful for, um, and what we're excited about that day. I think that's extremely important. And we got to be intentional. In our society today, there's so much that's being thrown at us. We really have to be intentional about creating a sense of joy and excitement, right? And so I think that's extremely important. Just creating a ritual around that, and then just having a game plan each day and trying to attack that the best you can, and being in a state where you can pivot when things don't go the way that you had planned. But I think that's important. And then healthy lifestyle principles all really just apply to that. So good diet, all the things we've already talked about for the kids applies just as much to the parents. And the more that we're practically applying that, the better we're going to be, the more resilient we're going to be to the stressors that we face. And I think just building resilience in general is extremely important. Like for me, I take I'll finish my shower with 60 seconds of cold water every morning, right? And why do I do that? Number one, it's very painful at the time and uncomfortable when I do it, but I feel amazing when I'm finished, and I know that I'm actually building this ability to cope and adapt to stress. And that helps because when things come up throughout the day, I feel like I'm more prepared for the stressors that come. And so we've just got to assume that stress is going to come. And the more that we can prepare our body with good exercise, good lifestyle habits, really good recovery and sleep, and doing strategies, even like finishing with 10 seconds of cold water or something like that, these things can all create more resilience and mental, emotional, and physical resilience. I mean, we're a mind, body, and spirit. So when we start to strengthen our own body physically, it's going to rub off on our mind and our emotions. And the more that we can work positively on our emotions, on our emotional health, on our spiritual health, that's going to rub off on, every element of our life. So we just have to be really diligent and intentional about that self-care.
Doc, I think you had everybody until you started talking about a cold shower. I mean, everybody was on board. No, I'm teasing. Again, wonderful information there. I think it is so easy to get distracted this day and age, again, with events or with opportunities, like you said, that it's so easy to say yes to. Again, with just the tasks that are demanded of us from day to day emails and texts and staying in touch. I mean, it's incredible how much we can have against us. But when we start changing that mindset, like you said, and focusing not on the things that are stressful or going wrong, but the things that are good, we change that mindset to a mindset of gratitude. It's incredible how much how different we can look at the world and the opportunities that are in front of us. So I think that that was very, very well said. And I hope that resonates with all of you listeners as much as it resonated with me. So thank you for that, Doc. Last couple questions that I have for you here before we part ways and head off to our busy days. Can you tell us what you have planned for 2020? I think Tracy, a member of your team, reached out to me to kind of game plan a little bit with you guys. But what do you have planned for 2020, and where can people continue to find your work?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with drjockers.com, I mean, we're just going to continue to create the world's best health content. So that's just a continual thing that we do. And then as far as some other projects, my book, The Keto Metabolic Breakthrough, which really goes through a nutrition plan that helps your body burn fat for fuel. And so that comes out actually January 28th. So I'm excited about that. It's already available for pre-order. So you can check that out. We've got over 60 recipes in there. It's full color, lots of pictures, images. And we go through really how to troubleshoot this sort of fat burning diet called the ketogenic diet, how to troubleshoot challenges people may have. So I'm excited about the book coming out, and I'll be doing some media that's involved with that. And I also created a master class as well, right? Where it's like actually a video master class where I'm training on this topic. And, the results we've gotten are absolutely amazing. People losing 20 pounds, 30, 50, 80 pounds, coming off, 8, 10, 12 medications, reversing autoimmune diseases, just absolutely amazing. People healing cancer, right? I mean, it's just absolutely incredible results they're happening from this sort of a nutritional approach, this sort of a lifestyle. And so I wanted to really help people, help get this out to the masses. So we've got the master class that we're going to be launching again in January, worldwide launch. And so we're excited about that. And I'm also going to be writing my next book on fasting called The Fasting Transformation. I'm a huge fan of applying intermittent fasting, where we're able to fast for periods of time throughout the day. And then also doing periodic extended fasts for certain individuals can be extremely helpful and really enhance the healing process. And so I think fasting is the most ancient, inexpensive, and perhaps the most powerful healing strategy known to mankind. So really excited about that. And I've got a fasting transformation summit that I'm launching in May of 2020 as well. So a lot of good things coming up. And, for really just almost any major health topic, my website, we just continue to create great content around that.
And again, the website is drjocker.com or s.com, correct? Jockers.com.
Yep.
Okay.
drjockers.com. Yeah.
And so again, I've been a member of your newsletter for years and years. And again, the quality that you're saying is no lie. That is, it's incredible how much you put out, but not only the amount, but the quality of what you're putting out. And just to touch on a couple of things that you said, I did an interview with Dr. Perlmutter a while back, and Dr. Perlmutter had said, as a neurologist, one of the most important tool that he has in his toolbox is food. I know that what you're saying here is the exact same, note. It is incredible to me to hear what you just said, things that are medically impossible. People getting off medications, people reversing cancer. The power of food and the power of the body to be well is nothing short of amazing. So thank you for continuing to put out that message and continuing to give people the specific action steps to, again, bolster that healing from the inside out.
Well, love it, Cade. Thanks so much for the interview. Such a great opportunity, and I love what you're doing.
Thanks. Thank you, Doc. I appreciate it. So again, please continue your drive and your heart to share it with the world. You're a huge addition to the team at Rooted Apothecary, and we are absolutely blessed for your time. We hope your family a very Merry Christmas. And Dr. Jockers, you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Cade. Merry Christmas to you guys as well.
All right, man. God bless. Talk to you soon.